resolution. This question who will take? I think the question is that how much minimum thickness we can resolve with seismic. Is that the question? Whosoever has written, please respond that. Okay. Yeah, so I think you have seen in Naresh's presentation, in mine presentation also, that we have talked up to 2 meter thin coal seams. But what Naresh has said that the expectation is 0.9 meters. So right now with the advanced method, we are able to detect up to 2 meter thin seams, but not below that. Maybe Naresh's program might have gone below that. That's what he said in shallow subsurface. So that depends upon the technique, but the target is 0.9 meter. We have to go sub-meter for actual mining requirement, to meet the actual mining requirements. So any other question? Yeah, okay. It is to Rajiv Dhar. Whether PAD drilling regularly being used in your blocks? Rajiv, this question is for you. Can you hear me? Can you? Okay. Whether PAD drilling regularly being used in your blocks, spacings between shallower seams will reduce. Can you see the chat box, Rajiv? The question is there. Rajiv?
Yeah, I'm just opening up. The chat box,
So, Rajiv, can I come in? This is Paritosh from ONGC.
yeah,
So,
Yes.
yeah. So what I have written is that whether pad drilling, which means you have a central
yeah, we are,
position.
yeah. Now it's clear. We are going for pad drilling. That is mostly once interval and four deviated well from the same pad. And
Yeah.
we are,
So how do you handle the reduced spacing between shallow? Because do you have an optimal spacing which you like to keep between your seams?
yeah, actually, we are based on this our parameters and etc. So we are mostly for the bottom seam we are maintaining around 40 to 50 acre spacing, and coming to in the shallower part where comparatively shallower seam, it's become around 30 to 40 acre spacing. So basically, what we are doing, we are going for the early kickoff, very early kickoff from the beginning itself, and we are trying to maintain in the at least 30 acre spacing in the top group of coal seam also.
Paritoshji, you have asked one more question, right? That you can ask now. It's directly to
Yeah.
Rajiv.
So this other question was about 3D seismic, because what we face in ONGC when because we are in the process of making finalizing development plans, already implementation is going on. So mid-course correction sometimes is necessary. So what I wanted to know is we don't have 3D seismic in any of our blocks. We have 2D seismic in selective places. So whether I wanted to know, because we are talking about such good resolution with 3D seismic, people are saying that 2-3 meters are also possible. Is it being used anywhere commercially, 3D seismic in India? And whether it is, what is the point about commercial viability, whether it is there? Yeah, for
Naresh,
CBM reservoirs.
Naresh, you want to take this question because they are asking the commercial aspect of that uh, for CBM?
Sorry, some technical glitch. I just missed the question.
Okay, what they are asking, what Dr. Paritoshji is asking, that whether 3D seismic is being commercially
Yeah.
utilized for coal seam identification for CBM. So commercially they are asking. So what I know that most of the data what NGRA has acquired, it's basically the R&D. It's not really very commercial project. But have you done any commercial project with 3D?
No, 3D, whatever is being done for Coal India, that is by NGRA only. But I strongly recommend that 3D is required. Why? Because those attributes which is to be applied, that can be applied mostly on 3D data. And apart from CBM for mining purpose also, these minor geological information is very much essential, and that can be very well be given through 3D data. So yes, rather than 2D, 3D will be very much useful. And by having 3D data, we can do much more R&D to address the problems at what we are facing now for CBM exploration also. So rather than doing 3D and again doing 3D to address those problems, having 3D data, this can be reprocessed, and in future also we can use this data to do R&D and develop so many techniques to address the issues at any time. So that's what's it.
So Paritosh ji, NGRA has done two 3D survey projects for coal and CBM exploration. One is in Mahanadi Basin, that is with CMPDI, and other one is in South Karanpura block, that is purely for CBM exploration planning. So that is with IIST. Professor Datta is also here from IIST, and with CMPDI. So these all are like R&D projects, because the first time 3D was being done in these coal fields. And while doing those surveys, we learned lot many things that which should not be done in seismic when we are going for the coal field exploration. So and unfortunately the South Karanpura block, which we studied for in very detail for the CBM exploration, doesn't have good gas content, so it will not be commercialized. So as of now, it's not really done to develop a commercial project. But yes, the 3D image, the 3D seismic image, what we have generated for South Karanpura and also for the Mahanadi Basin, it is very much of the industry standard, and it will be useful if those blocks undergo for further exploitation.
So, okay, thank you. So we have to, I think before taking it up commercially, we have to go for more studies and
Yes.
the viability has to be seen. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nisha, I would just would like to add to your question, rather answer. So basically, as you mentioned that this current Pura, this so maybe the workflow for the CBN in terms of commercial and all these things. So maybe we can go for the first the gas should be here, and after that, even if we for the exploration phase, if we spend some money on the uh, 3D or dense 2D seismic, and if you can save at least couple of sick wells because of the structural problem and all these things. So that will be, I think, commercially very beneficial one.
Yes, yes, that's what Naresh was also presenting, that how it can reduce the cost of drilling wells, and that's what we are really looking forward to work with the industry, that we take seismic to that level. Thank you, Rajiv, for
Yeah,
that.
Dr. Nimisha, I just would like to add something on this. This is
Yes,
Arvind
sir,
Kulbhushan.
yes. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
please.
actually, as we all know that 3D is really very advantageous for this. But after that, the processing, that is a very important thing in this. If you go for the inversion technique or something like that, we can do much better in these things. And if you tie up with, if you have some sonic data, and if you can tie up with this data, because the coal seams are very thin here or somewhere. So in sonic log, you can catch these beds, and if you can tie it with your 3D data with inversion, you can find it very clearly. That is my take. That
Yes,
is
sir.
the
Yes,
proposal. Yeah.
yes, sir.
In,
Yes.
in addition to this, I would like to add one thing. Like apart from exploration purpose, having 3D data and integrated with sonic, we can derive the strength parameters, which can be used later in during mining, underground mining, exploration, and all. And if it is open cast mining, then the impedance is very much crucial to optimizing the blast size and all for removing the overburden, and even for exploitation of this coal. This optimization of blasts, that means explosive size, is very much essential. That can be done through these studies. So having 3D data is very much required in future course of mining also. once it is acquired during the exploration stage.
So I think we close the presentation session here, and then we move on to the panel discussions. And I see that most of our panelists are also ready and they have joined here. So if everyone is okay, I'll hand over the panel discussion session to Shri Rajiv Lochenji, who had been very supportive to NGRI in all these Coal India CMPDI projects. And he had been heading the CBM cell of CMPDI for a quite long time. Now he has recently retired from there. So, sir, would you like to take up now the panel discussion on this? Is CBM?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir, please, please.
Yes.
Yeah, it's over.
And I would like to congratulate Dr. V.M. Tiwari, sir, who was the Director CSR NGRI, who is really pursuing the things of this unconventional energy resources in a big way. As that too added with the fuel, added with giving the fragrance there with the geophysical support. Of course, in my opinion, of course, the country good resources, and if the coal is there, then CBM is also there. But as the CBM is concerned, the policy
sir,
1997, no doubt.
sir, we have some
And
disturbance at your end in voice. We are not able to hear you properly. Yeah, sir, your voice is not very clear.
okay, now it's okay.
Sir, can we try switching
Hello,
off your camera?
hello.
Maybe some. Sir, your voice is not very clear.
Okay, I just hopefully now is okay. In
Yeah,
fact,
better.
here the technical issue is there. I agree. Now my voice is okay.
Yes, sir, it's better. Yeah.
Okay. In fact, it is nothing. This is the technical issue, and it is happening from my side. The Ranchi also going for the network there. But anyway, once again, I really like to congratulate Dr. V.M. Tiwari sir. SK. Hello.
No, sir. It's
No.
we're not able to hear you.
So should I log in? I don't want to waste my time because waste your time because we have already extended presentation there.
Yeah, sir, can you log in from your mobile? Maybe that would be better.
I'm able to hear Nimisha, what he's saying.
Is it okay? Professor Datta, are you able to hear him properly?
Yeah, little sketchy, but I can.
That's what
Yeah,
sketchy
voice is
here.
breaking.
I think
Yeah.
better to continue. Some breaking of noise is there, but it's audible.
No, Nishan, to bear with me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir. We will.
So I am
understand.
speaking slow. Uh, I will speak slow. So that is not. So please bear with me. That is a technical issue from my side, which is beyond my control. Anyway, as far as my nation's prospects is concerned, coal-bed methane is really going to be the changing the scenario now. It will be the turning table now because, of course, we are putting all efforts since 1997. But these responses, and you can find out there the 5 blocks, CBM blocks, are under production. In average, we are producing around 2 million metric standard cubic meter per day. What we are having 2,600 BCM prognosticated resource. We have already in which the recoverable is around 115 BCM. scenario is because now with the special bid round of 2021 of Director General of Hydrocarbon, and lot of data have been made up to National Repository as well as Central Mine and Design Institute early. These are the industries and institutions CSR, SIMFA, and RI. Now, in the coming days, not only we are going to add the CBM as the unconventional energy resources, but it is also going to fulfill our honorable Prime Minister dream, that is the COP26, where we have already to achieve net zero emission by 2070. Is going to be the very important role, and we are going to play a key role as far as CBM industry is concerned. Because you all know that CBM productions can be enhanced through CO2 injection, and we have already planned because still our CBM stage, so going to easily implement immediately there, but expecting these things of utilization of CO2 enhanced will be going to be after 2035, and because till date even we have the great achievement, we have already drilled 1040 wells, and in which we around 690 wells are producing. And once this will be going to the mature stage, we can inject the CO2 in this, and we can enhance the production of the enhance the production also, as well as going to add and further step forward for net zero emission. We are having the good way of government capture way to continue the dependence on coal, because our lifeline is coal. So we can't ignore the coal till 2050. Our dependency is very much as energy system of that way only. Added advantage to us, and we are certainly going to get the things in. So now I request my learned panelists who are present with us to share their experience. Our academicians has already shared a lot of things in the experience there. So I'm coming forward and requesting Namisha to kindly request and invite the other speakers who are going to add for our industry. Please.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, as you have already mentioned that CBM is going to be a future of Indian means energy scenario. So I think the best person who should start this conversation is Shri Sanjay Kumar from SR, the Vice President of SR. Sanjay?
Yeah, thank you, Nimisa. Am I audible? Am I clear?
Yes, yes, perfect. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be part of this esteemed panel.
Yes, Sanjay, please go ahead.
Thank you, thank you. So glad to hear so many good things about CBM industry. And as SR, we are actively engaged in exploration and production of CBM, as we all know, and we have been pioneer in the industry in India. So, and we were the first ones to drill first CBM wells in India in early 1990s. So from then to now, almost 3 decades have gone by. And I would say while we have made good progress as an industry in the country, but we have a long way to go. When I look back, I think that we have been slow. Things would have been much faster. But nevertheless, the future looks very bright. And with so much focus on the cleaner energy, gas, I think it's only going to get better from here. So just to tell you about SR, till last year, we were struggling with evacuation of gas. So with coming of Urja Ganga gas pipeline online, that has really given a big boost to us. And now we are able to fully evacuate our gas. So we are now connected to the national grid. And that way, there is no constraints on gas production. One of the key things which hampered SR's production ramp up was not having this pipeline. Because as you would know, in CBM, here in Raniganj, We started somewhere in 2007-8, and our production started in 2010-11. But we in fact, we, in the anticipation of the pipeline, we ramped up our production to 1 million in 16-17. But that never happened, and we had to shut in a lot of wells. So this is very detrimental to CBM wells, as you would know. I mean, because of the nature of the reservoir, nature of the fluid, nature of the physics here. As you shut in wells, again, reabsorption, then cross flow, resaturation of seams. So these are the challenges we faced. Now I mean, these challenges are behind us, and we are ramping up production. And as we speak, I think we would be the highest CBM gas producer in the country as we speak. And we aspire to cross 1 million very soon. So we are currently around 0.8, and we aspire to go 1 million very soon. And that would not happen in vacuum. So we are taking up a lot of activities. So in all our old wells, so we have close to 350 wells in the field. In all our old wells, we are actively intervening wherever we are intervening and carrying out stimulation activities. Refrac campaign. I mean, so we are refracturing a lot of our wells. This is primarily because we had to shut down wells immediately after fracturing many of these because of unavailability of market at that point of time, and that has tremendously damaged a lot of these wells. And we are seeing some good results. So huge campaign is going on that front. In addition to that, we have just started drilling in the block. So we intend to drill more than 300 wells in next 3 years. And we already have 2 drilling rigs deployed, and we have started drilling in the block. So that's a good news for us. So I talked about, I mean, these initiatives, working on the existing wells, drilling new wells, but we are very cognizant that how do we increase recovery from the field. So one way is to, I mean, start planning right from the beginning for enhanced gas processes. So we are actively engaged with a lot of esteemed institutions across the country, IITs. So we are working with IITs, we are working with TERI, we are working with NGRI. So recently we did a seismic acquisition campaign where NGRI have tested their multi-component receiver and acquired 30 line close meter of data, 2D data. And right now I think the data is in processing, and we are very eagerly waiting for the result there. So as I said, focus is on future. So enhanced gas recovery. We have started working on microbial. We are in very advanced stage. Almost all the lab studies are through, and we'll be implementing that in the field on a pilot scale towards the end of this year. Similarly, CO2 injection is another process which we have also studied a bit, but at this stage, it looks very early. We need to resolve a couple of key technical issues there, and then we can take it on a pilot scale. So that's where we are working as well. But in addition to that, I mean, coming to the topic straight away, seismic use of seismic technology for improving production and reserves, especially in CBM blocks, which a lot of speakers spoke about, and we have very scarce data. And this is primarily because of the nature of the business, CBM being very capital intensive. At the same time, you have to spend a lot of operating money in the upfront to dewater wells before you start getting any revenue from these blocks. So I know, I mean, that hinders our ability to be aggressive in CBM blocks. But nonetheless, I think with a lot of presentations which I saw, I mean, that's giving me hope that a lot of these technologies could be deployed here. We have to focus on making these technologies very cost effective so that we are able to take full benefit of this and increase production and reserves from the block. So bulk of my career, I mean, just to go back, I've spent in conventional, and for last 1 year, I'm in CBM. And there has been a lot of learning personally for me. What I've seen here is that the way people bring technologies here, very cost-effective technologies, and which is helping us to improve production from the field. So that should be focus. But coming just back to the topic of seismic, I think Rajiv talked about the importance of understanding of structure in these blocks. And as we are in the production phase, we are seeing impact of structure faults in different parts of the field. And a lot of these impacts are positive also. So if we understand fully the faults in the field, if we understand the kind of structure, whether we are in the flanks or the anticlinal structure, compressional or extensional regime, if these understandings are enhanced, we can apply these to our day-to-day production in day-to-day production from the field. So a lot of wells we have seen near the fault, they produce very good gas because of associated fractures, maybe secondary fractures which are present near the big faults. We have also seen at places some of these wells produce a lot of water. So again, having a right understanding of the structure will also allow us to understand whether coal seams are sitting against a sand body or something like that, and they are producing more and more water. So these things are going to be very useful. Also, the project which we are working on with NGRIA, we are going to use the input for our horizontal well drilling campaign. So we are planning a few pilot horizontal wells in the field. And the input from this study would be one of the additional factor which would be used or guide our location, well location. So much from now, but just as an industry, if I have to talk about CBM industry, I think while all the stakeholders are working hard and collaborating, I would also expect government to chip in a little more here, especially when I see bidding of new blocks and all. And based on my experience here in CBM industry in last 1 year, I mean, a lot of blocks, government can take initiative and acquire core data upfront, and because those data become basis for understanding these blocks. And I think Rajiv talked about two important parameters in addition to structure. I mean, structure would follow, but first, I mean, the gas has to be there, sufficient volume has to be there, and productivity has to be there so that we are able to tap this gas economically. So I think the government can help there whenever these blocks come for auction. I mean, these primary data should be gathered by the regulator or by initiative from the government. I mean, we all can collaborate there, and then these blocks. If these blocks are then offered for auction, I think we will get a lot of takers for these blocks. Right now, I mean, in the last, I think, auction round, it did not got the response it should have got. So I think these things we can improve. At the same time, I mean, this industry, I mean, we have a lot of footprints on land. So again, government has to work with us, and we have to work with the government to see that all the land acquisition issues and local issues are being taken care of. But yeah, I'm really delighted to be part of this discussion, and glad to hear some of the improvements which we are seeing in seismic technology. And I was really impressed to hear about resolving 2 meters. I could not do that in conventional, but there are technologies. We were trying a lot of inversion technologies there. And if these technologies are available, especially once we know the gas content, it would be good to understand how seams are, basically both vertically and spatially located, so that we can improve our well location, well placements. So this is all from me as of now, and I would be glad to contribute during the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sanjay. Now I request Professor Datta, he is the academic expert here, and afterwards Dr. Jyotirmay Malik to express their views on the future of seismic techniques in CBM exploration. I would also like to know from Professor Datta that what is his opinion on the CO2 injection in the coal seams of Gondwana basins. So, Professor Datta.
So you have put in a lot of things into my plate.
Sir, you are professor.
I understand. Okay. So first of all, I'll thank you all, NGRI and others, for giving me this opportunity to part of this panel discussion. It's really been fantastic listening to some of the developments that have been taken place recently. Now, just to be focused on the seismic technologies and what is my expectation from the seismics, I treat seismic as kind of CT scan of the Earth, and higher the resolution, higher the better. And we understand that technically there are a lot of issues of resolution. As of now, we may be going up to 2-3 meters, but gradually, there are developments that can reduce it to about 1 meter or so. Now, what we look into, what I would rather try to look into the seismics, the first thing that I should get is about the gross thickness. So gross thickness, about how much thickness we are getting in the gross, because net thickness is something that we decide. While the developer, as a developer, they will decide that whether to complete all the seams or not. But more important is the gross thickness. The variation of the gross thickness across the different regions of the area, and how much is the aerial extent. So these things are really, really important, and probably you see, even after seismics, we will need these boreholes because of evaluation, getting gas content data, getting other parameters. There are for well testing. So we need these boreholes and the wells later on. But at the first place, that we should get the gross thickness from the seismic barrier. The second important issue, which has been highlighted adequately already, and I'll once more put emphasis on this, is the structural thing. Because especially the micro faults, major faults probably are being delineated by conventional process of geological modeling. But micro faults, we often miss the micro faults, because this also I'm talking as a mining engineer, because we do visit a lot of underground mines related to our work. And quite often I find that these microfaults are not delineated in the conventional geological models. So suddenly we are developing some, underground working, and suddenly we encounter a fault and everything finishes. Now we have the freedom, we have the advantage in underground mining, that what we can do is we that what we can, with some advanced borehole or drilling, we can probe the other part of the fault or something like this, and then we can drive another tunnel, or what is called in mining terms for the drift. We can drive a drift and once again connect to the other part of the fault. But in case of CBM, what happens? We get completely lost because once you encounter a fault, your continuity of the seam is lost, and you are just lose the production. So I will expect that the seismic will give us the answer to the gross thickness, and the second thing on is the better way of delineation of the microfaults and other structures. These are my expectations from main expectation from seismics. I think we'll get these answers in future. Now, regarding the second thing that Nimisha put on my plate was this: what is the CBM thing, and what is the future of CBM and other things. So CBM, definitely it's pretty important. And as of now, if I don't have the exact statistics, but I think we're contributing about 2% of the natural gas production through CBM, probably around that figure. And, natural gas is always there, because natural gas is a transitional fuel. Okay. So as we are moving into net zero, the transition is the natural gas, because for any, especially for power production, the first advantage of natural gas is that you are getting 50% of the total CO2 emission for producing the same amount of electricity. That is, compared to coal, if I compare. And then this is important feedstock for other products, for transport fuel and fertilizer. We all know all those things. But uh, I definitely, there is a lot of recent developments, and it has got the impetus. But now I request the esteemed participants over here, what actually went wrong? Why did we take so much of time to develop our CBM fields? Just think of, we have got 4 rounds. In the first round, the second round, those things are okay. What happened to the third and fourth round? Second and first nomination round. Nomination round and round 1, that went well. But after that, what happened? After that, round 2 and round 3, all the blocks have been relinquished. What is the reason? I'm not pointing figures at anyone. But what exactly went wrong? Because out of 33 blocks, probably 4 or 5 are active blocks, and most of the blocks have been relinquished. Is it a problem of wrong selection of areas? Is it a problem of wrong data thing? Okay, so poor data or something. I don't know. I don't know exactly what is the main reason, but I'll urge, do a little bit of introspection and find out what exactly went wrong. Because Mr. Sanjay Kumar told about government involvement in developing the industry. So I think government has to be more diligent on this thing, that this delineation of the blocks are done in a much better way. So this is my take on CBM. The third thing that Nimisha wanted me to talk about is the CO2 sequestration in coal, which probably is one of my areas of interest. Yes, I do look into this thing in future, a lot of interest. There are definite challenges because as we have seen, nowhere in the world this is being done right now. Other than some pilot projects, nothing has been done because there are challenges. Now I interacted with a lot of people through my interaction worldwide. What are the reasons? The first reason was definitely the problem which Dr. Mullik, he is an expert of these permeability things. So any production of CBM production or CO2 sequestration, everything will depend on one single factor, one key factor, that is the permeability, nothing else. Everything is a matter of permeability. So if permeability is high, even if you have low gas content, you'll go good production, no problem. It's adequately demonstrated in Powder River Basin. So very low gas content, high permeability, that those wells are productive. But if you take into other examples of China or Russia or even Canada, there are coal seams which have very high gas content, very low permeability, nothing comes up there. The same thing it happens in case of CO2 sequestration in coal. The main problem that people faced was the swelling, because a lot of swelling of coal takes place when a lot of CO2 absorbs into coal. Due to that, the complete cleat is closed and injectivity comes to zero. It has been observed in many places. But there are some other techniques by which we can somehow get rid of this thing, not get rid of, at least you can partially eliminate this problem. And this problem may not be everywhere. So every coal will behave, in its own way. We cannot generalize anything. So important thing is that was one issue, technical issue, and another commercial issue of not pursuing with ECBM in other parts of the world. Been, especially for example, taking the example of US. US suddenly the market was glad with cheap shale gas. So now the total cost of acquiring ECBM and CO2 storage and getting something additional CBM out of it. So that was very cost effective. That was at all not cost effective. That was the main problem of CBM. So techno commercial problem. On technical side is the technical issue of swelling and loss of injectivity, and on the other side the commercial issue is it was not cost effective. So these were the main things which contributed to not development of this technique of ECBM. But as I said, each coal will be in its own way. So who knows that in our coals we have not carried out any study in India as of now. Okay, probably some of the institutes are carrying out a little bit of studies. But I am definitely hopeful that I know that there are techniques which can be applied in order to get rid of these kind of problems. I look forward to the future where probably we'll be getting lots of projects because we have lots of coals, lot of coal fields. I look forward to this opportunity where there will be some incentive for this kind of ECBM. Without incentive, this will not work. Some kind of carbon credit or something. Okay, so let us see what is happening. But I am looking forward to a lot of hope that these things will come out in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable comments. Jyotirmay, you want to add something?
So, thank you very much, Nimisha, to allow me to speak here. So it's really encouraging to see actually when Rajiv presented about the structural control on coal bed permeability. This really gives us hope that the research that we are doing in our lab is in the right direction. And although we are at the very preliminary stage, so it gives us hope. So seismic can definitely resolve structured and very thin coal seams. That's true. But one of the areas I think where we can parallelly think of is tying seismic with rock physical and geomechanical experiments. So the attributes that come out from seismic analysis, especially quantitative interpretations, QI as we call it, their association with and their corroboration with rock physical experiments and geomechanical experiments can be another avenue of research and which could be extremely beneficial for the industry. Another thing is shooting 3D seismic is a challenge, and especially all the seismic is going to be done here on land, and land seismic acquisition in 3D is a challenge. So if we take one step at a time, and if we think about concentrating on very closely spaced 2D lines, maybe that is the first step towards meaningfully utilizing seismic technology in coal bed methane. Now, what problem that at least while we were working with this seismic data we found is that wells and the seismic lines are drilled independently. So the wells are drilled independently at very different locations, and they are in most of the time are not on the top of the seismic line. Okay, so while such campaigns are designed in future, something can be looked after, that some wells at least drilled on exactly the seismic line, so that a good well to seismic tie is achieved. And I understand that they are coming from two very different campaigns, and you need to kind of match the data together, which is a very difficult and challenging job. But that is something to be thought about while we are going to use this 2D seismic in a more effective way. The other point that I wish to bring in here around CCS. Uh, um, also being interested in the subject, one of the primary constraint of having a demonstration project or having an effective CCS project in India is availability of carbon dioxide. Say, for example, if you think about these Western depleted oil fields, which are close to depletion or is going to be depleted maybe in next 10 years or so. If we think about having CCS there, the biggest challenge is real big time to bring carbon dioxide from now. Coal bed methane, the coal fields, the Gondwana coal fields, advantage of.
Not audible.
Hello,
Hey, you were not audible for a while.
hello. Is it
Yeah,
audible
yeah,
now?
yeah. It's
Okay, so where did you lose me? Hello, can someone say where did you lose me so that?
non-availability of CO2.
Okay, yes.
Uh,
So so you have not missed me much. Okay, so the non-availability of CO2 in Western India. Now there is a natural advantage of having these coal-fired power plants, in Eastern India, and so the source to sink uh, uh, mm, distance is really workable if we wish to use these Gondwana coal seams as CCS sink. Okay, so that is another very important area to think about. There is another thing that is kind of a proposal, or maybe a wild thinking. I don't know if SR or the operators are thinking in that way. You have in the same basin, you have coal bed methane as well as the barren measure. I think has potential for shale gas. I don't know what uh, what are the thoughts about jointly exploiting them. That has not been done ever anywhere in the world. Whether we can use the same well to actually extract coal bed methane as well as shale gas. Is it something one can think about? Okay, so with these thoughts, I would like to conclude, and I will chip in later on if required. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyotirmay. Rajiv, you want to answer what Jyotirmay is asking about extracting shale gas at the same time from the CBM well? Or we move ahead with
Yes,
other?
basically, if we talk about the shale gas and the CBM, so I'll not straight away say that whether is it possible or not, because it is not done anywhere till now, probably as per my knowledge. But mostly the CBM wells are under pressure wells, and we require this dewatering part and artificial lift system. and most of the shale gas well are of high pressure. Mostly, maybe in the latter phase, they require the artificial lift. Initially, they come up with almost like a conventional well. So that may be one challenge to mitigate those parts. And of course, regarding the Jyotirmay rightly mentioned, and we are also SR is also planning for some shale gas exploration in the band measure shale itself, and the other, and we have also signing the mining lease, and we are in the exploration process itself. So again, some as shale gas exploration is quite expensive itself with respect to if you talk about this CBM. So again, some R&D sort of fail from the CSR and all the institutes and etc. That will be really helpful.
Thank you, Rajiv. So now I move ahead and request our industry partners, Mr. B. Srinivas Rao.
No, B.N. Shastri. You are referring about me?
No, no.
Okay.
From SCCL, GM Exploration of Singareni, SCCL. Sir, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nimishaji. And good afternoon to all panelists. At the same time, I'm very much thankful to NGR authorities for bringing all the industry people and academic people and research-oriented people together into a same platform to discuss about the utilization of seismic studies in the coal exploration or CBM studies. So in the coal exploration, our Naresh has given a good presentation on what he has done so far from CMPDA side. Yeah, definitely seismics can be utilized for the exploration activity, but provided so these activities mostly restricted to the forest areas where getting permission for 150 or 250 shot holes per square kilometer may be a difficult task. Moreover, they will ask for the growing tall trees in 150 or 250 multiplied with whether it may be 2 or 10 trees. So for right now, they are for exploration studies, they are asking 110 trees per each borehole site. So it will be a cost. So another thing is, so in habitat areas, it will be difficult to do with the blasting technique, but because NGRI procured that high capacity vibrators, so moving of those vibrators in the habitat area also, I think it will be some sort of concern for the people. Again, so instead of, I think, yes, Naresh pointed out that so much area is left out to do exploration activity for coal exploration. I think Ministry of Coal also not encouraging that much coal exploration from even GSI also they are not asked. Only from GSI side, I think hardly 6 or 8 people are there in the coal wing. Actually, GSI started for exploration of coal only. Now it has lost its luster, but recently because of the Ukraine war and other things, people are asking for coal. But government mostly interested in the coking coal, not in the bituminous coal, that is thermal coal. Okay, even then, there are a lot more mines to come because so many blocks for auction so far, and Singareni or Coal India are going to start some more new mines. At least you say another 50 to 100 mines will come in India in the within 5 years period. I think researchers are those who are actively involved in the seismic studies. They can concentrate on yes precisely fixing the in-crop position because unnecessarily a lot of money time was wasted to find out the exact in-crop positions. Without doing that in-crop study properly, people used to evacuate from the large areas. Later on, they used to confine the lateral mining from some part. So unnecessarily wasting of the land, wasting of the money, time overrun also there. So if it is possible to fix up the in-crop most precisely, because okay, grass thickness has Patrick Dattas have also told grass thickness is most essential from seismic studies. Yeah, even GC, that is great also. Leave about those things. So at least fix up that enclave position. So because width, definitely even for a 2 meter or 3 meter seams which is having a gradient of 6 or 7, that means the width will be around 20 meters or so. So in that area, if you can precisely fix up that intra positions, it will be a more useful for, that will be greater help for the industry people. I think people can concentrate on those things. So another one is, as part that was told, so structural features also, even minor faults. So minor faults to the tune of what? So for oil industry, yes, sir, Rajiv sir, or some Rajiv sir, he has told that 400 meters fault is what 40, 50 meters minor faults. So in coal industry, even 10 meters also it will have a great impact on the overburden excavation and volume calculations. So these type of things also, I think, from industry researcher side or those who are in the seismic studies, whether it is 2D or 3D, industry is it is immaterial to them. So try to concentrate on those studies. And I think not only exclusively geologists do all these seismic studies, let geologists also involved in these type of studies. So together, yes, instead of competing with each other, complement each other, because recently Nimsha Madam also she came forward and NDR also accepted that initiative. So we have conducted a mass of studies in one of our coal mines area. So in that way, so you bring your technology, we will provide the logistics. Win-win situation. So nobody will come forward to spend some money to give research option to you. So because industry, they want some return from the investment, whatever they are making. At the same time, they are ready to cooperate. So utilize that one. So you bring your technology or whatever it may be, come to our areas, whether it is Singareni or CMPDI or any private area also. Take their logistic support. So bring so that win-win situation, you can prove the technology, then automatically you can go for commercialization. So without that one, I don't think somebody will come forward to fund your research projects from industry side. So this is all I want to say. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Hemant, sir, you have raised your hand.
I'm sorry, just wanted to check, do you have this B2B session for the CO2 or is it going to continue in this only?
No, sir. We'll just wrap up this session and then we'll have to log in again for the B2B. Yes, we are running little late, so we'll just conclude these panel discussions. So now I request Praveen Chintala from Reliance to express his views on basically on the CBM exploration, because for CO2 we'll have another B2B meeting. We'll take that discussion further in the B2B meeting as Dr. Hemant is suggesting. So Praveen ji. He's online, but Praveen ji, are you there? Okay. If
I'm not finding him.
yeah, maybe if there is some
No,
problem.
I just, you see the chat box, he says no voice. So I think he has an audio issue.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't know. What, yeah, Praveen Chinthala, yes.
Yeah.
Navesh Tyagarajan is from Raipur, Nagpur.
Yeah, then in the meantime, when he might be fixing his system, I request Mr. Sujit Mitra ji from IRS ONGC. They have developed great expertise in this CO2 EOR problems, and for several years they had been working on these issues. So I think we should listen from him when we are planning to really inject CO2 in some geological formation. And also if he can add something to the CBM exploration status in India. Sir, Mitra sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear? Can I am audible?
Yes, sir. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I'm in Delhi and I had to catch a flight. So quickly, I will say that it's an enlightening for me because I really work in, as Nimisha said, that in UR and for more than 1.5 decades, and worked significantly with Sanjay as well when Sanjay was an oil and gas man. So, and regarding CBM, I just talked to the team and said that we know that we are ONGC is a quite late starter in this field, and SR and other GECL are quite ahead. But we plan to start production in 23, 24, and we have been drilling wells and dewatering those wells and so on and so forth. The main challenges, there are two bright things. I always look up the energy transition point of view, that yes, CBM has a huge future. I mean, it is a tip of an iceberg in a country like India where so much coal is available. So CBM has a huge future. We take a long time, and Mr. Datta was taking is we as a nation we sometimes take a long time, but it has now hit a good stride. And why I say CBM is a very significant source, energy resource. Only reason is that it makes coal mining much more easy, because if you first depressurize and produce methane and then produce that mine that coal, then the methane production through mining reduced significantly. And methane is extremely potent greenhouse gas than CO2. I mean, probably 25 times more. So, and another point is that our gas-based power plants are really struggling. I can say that approach us regular basis, and so they have a lease of life. And the advantage is that the CO2 capture from gas-based power plant is much cheaper than the CO2 capture in a purely coal-based power plant. It is significantly low because there are a lot of other impurities come up through coal-based power plant. And regarding as Nimisha said, that CO2 injection in depleted oil and gas reservoir in Western India, and Dr. Jyotirmay said that Western India is not as privileged as a CO2 source. It's completely not right. Western India has a huge amount of CO2 source. An advantage is that much of the source are much cleaner flue gas. So capture cost is low because of the presence of huge amount of big refineries and big fertilizer plant where the CO2 is in fertilizer plant is a byproduct, pure CO2 almost. And in refineries, there are a lot of reformer units where flue gas has a huge content of CO2, and so capture cost is much lower. And um, as far as ONGC is concerned, we yet to start the CBM production. So ECBM comes much later on. But for a depleted oil and gas fields, yes, we are quite done a lot of work, and we plan to start injection in 26, 27, preferably in 25, 26, if not 26, 27. And India for CO2 capture and sequestration and transport, this is a beginning and is a long way to go. US, Canada, UK, and Norway, China, and Australia. These are the 6 nations which has done some work. And but still, the pure sequestration project in the globally is only 6 or 7. So, our project, any country starts with CO2 sequestration with UR comes sequestration project nowadays. Do we call it maximum storage UR? Nothing else, nothing more. So we are working on that. We are learning phase in CBM as well. SR is much ahead in many areas. Just before I finish, and I must say that thank you. I've learned a lot in this. And one important point is that we are another important source of resource can be CBM, the early phase of production, the dewatering, and this water can be huge source. I mean, another area that the globally people have started thinking how to best utilize the produced water, both in the oil field as well as CBM. So that can be another source of a real source of uh, uh, depleted resource like water. This can be a big source. So in that point, CBM has a huge potential in India and hope. And of course, government intervention and support is can never be overemphasized. Hope that that with time, as the energy transition is happening, and it is declared 2070 by net zero. So these will all have a kickstart. So thank you all. I will try to catch it, and thank you all.
Sir, so you will not be available for that business meeting, CO2U or business meeting, Mitra sir?
Ma'am, I will not be available to catch a flight. It is purely CO2 or something else is there in that meeting?
That's purely CO2 business meeting. So if you can join, because
Yeah, when you will start? I mean,
will start in 10 minutes after wrapping up this panel discussion session. So because you have
okay, in the beginning I will speak and
in CO2, you mean CO2 EOR studies in India, and like we know that in Camber Basin you have tried a lot.
I will. Yeah, I mean, give me an opportunity to speak in the first, and I'll speak and leave.
Yes, sir.
In that case,
We'll change the program.
I have to join in another connection.
Yes, sir. I'll call you after this panel discussion.
I will
share that link separately with you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Yeah. So I think Praveen Chintala is still not.
Yeah. Hello.
Is there? Okay. Yeah. So
Dr. Nisha, you are able to hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you. So we would like to hear something on the CBM production from Reliance side. The CO2 EOR will take CO2 ECBM will take later in the business meeting. So please express your views on the CBM exploration status.
Yeah, actually there was a disconnect. I could not hear all the presentations. But let me thank NGRA Director Dr. Tiwari and Dr. Nimisha. Thanks for arranging this. I think it's a good startup to link industry, academy, and institutes. So Reliance is working, but not much on the CBM. But in the future, definitely by using CO2, we are also exploring various options. Not only CBM, we are also working for EVOR and mineralization, all other options to utilize the CO2. As you all know, that Reliance is looking to have a carbon neutral by 2030. So I have not heard all the presentation, but I agree, and most of the points highlighted by Sanjay sir, Datta sir, and Dr. Sujit. So the basic the problem is we are fully depending on other countries for entire coal and methane. Lot of imports, billions of cubic meters we are importing, but our own productions are very less. I think we have to increase that and reduce the import duties for the country. So for that, a lot of research and exploration, I heard from some of the presentations you guys are doing better, but still a lot of studies and explorations are required. I think we'll do that in the future. Reliance in CBM is not much, but in the case of CO2, yes. For CO2 to chemicals, mineralizations, aquifers, and CO2 injection in the basalt rock, all these areas we are exploring. And CO2 has to be monetized actually, whether it is in chemicals or sequestration, it has to be monetized in the country. Instead of chemicals or CBM, other point is the CO2, locking CO2 for a long period of time by sequestration. So EOR is well known, that is proven at many places, but not this enhanced coal bed methane recovery. So by using CO2, that has to be improved, that has to be taken in the country, so that we can increase the production of methane. And other option is the better way is to consume more CO2. Other sequestration options is CO2 injection into the saline aquifers and basalt rocks. But those are all challenging, and it has to be taken care. It's not yet started, or even in the world also not much. So though this enhanced oil recovery or coal bed methane or mature technologies, but still in India it's a nascent. Compared to EOR, this enhanced coal bed methane recovery is not commercially practiced except there is one up to pilot scale, the northern portion of the southern Colorado, there is one basin they are using. Otherwise, it is not much proven. So India's total potential basically for the storing and sequestration, I think some of the reports says more than 400 million tons of CO2 is possible to utilize in different coal seams or coal fields, whatever we have in India. So I understand from presentations, NGR and others, we are doing good research on various Indian coals. We can also do much better also in the future, and linking to industry and also to the government directly, how we can improve or make these technologies commercially viable. So another concern is the CO2. Whatever we are talking, either CO2 for the coal bed methane or uh, for sequestration, the issue is CO2 hubs. So where to capture and where to store. So that is missing. And the CO2 hubs also, the CO2 or various industries are emitting, which are away from the your coal bed methane or enhanced oil recovery gas fields or oil fields.
Praveenji, sorry to interrupt you. This CO2 discussion we will take in the another meeting
Yeah,
because some
fine.
experts will be there.
Fine.
So what we wanted to discuss here was the CBM side. So if you
That's fine then. We'll meet in the CO2 sequestration.
okay. Thank you, Praveenji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rajesh sir, would you like to conclude the technical session? Then I'll request our FICCI representative to wind up.
Thank you, Nimisha, and I'm really thank you for all the inputs there, particularly to the from ISAR fellow and the academician like Pratik Datta and Dr. Malik and Jyotirmay sir. And of course, we are visioning a better future because government is also very liberal when thinking to the development of the CBM, and we have given it the color to the government also. Now it is going to add for the carbon sequestration also and carbon capture utilization also. So it is one of the added value to our industry. So we are wishing all good luck to our civil industry fellow and CO2 sequestration experts. Very soon we are finding a lot of projects in India, and I'm there always there for the CPM development and CO2 sequestration. Thank you for your valued input, and once again congratulations to NGRI for their exemplary this organizing this event on this 75th years of our national's Amrit Mahotsav. Thank you. Bye.
Sir, we have Mr. Shastri, our Telangana and Andhra Pradesh FICCI representative. So I'll request him to. Yes, sir. If you want to come here.
There is no need.
So he'll wind up this session with some comments on how research can be connected to the industry.
Yeah, at the outset, I thank NGRI for giving an opportunity to take part in this important iConnect program. FICCI as a premier institution representing all the sectors, ready to extend whatever the possible cooperation required for CSR labs to connect with the industry. Of course, as earlier speaker mentioned, that if it is not commercially viable, there is no point in making it keep on working on it. So this is the need to bring both industry as well as the research institute come together and find out the solution for the industry. So once again, I extend my full cooperation to NGRI and CSR labs to extend all possible cooperation from FICCI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I request our director to just say a few words in the end so that we close this panel discussion and then we'll log in through for the B2B meeting.
Thank you, Nivisa. Once again, heartiest congratulations to NGRI and big salute to Dr. VM Tiwari.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, I think all of you have seen the program. I have requested all of you to join two different B2B meetings. So, everyone who is interested in the CO2 injection discussion, either in coal seams or depleted oil and gas reservoirs, please use the second link of B2B meeting. And everyone who is interested in this seismic techniques in detail, some advancement in the seismic exploration techniques for cold field exploration, they should join the first B2B meeting. So 2 different links are shared with you. We'll post it again in the WhatsApp group what organizers have created. So we'll log out from here and then log in there.
Nimisha, actually, I have another meeting scheduled from 5:15. My colleagues are already sitting over here, so I may please be excused from the B2B meeting. Okay, they have been patiently hearing to me, attending this meeting and other deliberations. But now, we have to start the meeting with our own meeting. So please excuse me.
Okay, sir. Okay. Yes. Okay, sir.
So we are joining the B2B meeting now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nimisha, I don't have the link to the B2B meeting.
Sir, we are sending job is